Vaishnava Vindiki, Namacharya Haridas Thakur, Prem Singh Holy Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhana Ki, Vrindavan Dhami Ki, Mayapurna Vrindami Ki, Jagannath Puri Dhami Ki, Ganga Maya Murmai Ki, Bhakti Devi Tulsi Maharani Ki, Gaura Premanandi, all glories to Santa, all glories to Santa, all glories to Santa, glories of glories to Sri Guru and Sri Guru. Bhagavan Vacha Satyam Vayambo Anako Charam Ridha Yusmat Idam Vigaye Gram Simham Namrityu Pasahay Prati Muktasya Vira Vikantanam Tava Grinanti Abhadra Bhagavan Vacha Satyam Vayambo Vanago Charamriga Yusmad Vidam Mrigaye Grama Simhan Namrityu Pasahi Pratimukta Shavira Vikantanam Tava Grinantya Bhadra Shri Bhagavan Vacha Satyam Vayambo Vanago Charamriga Yusmad Vidam Mrigaye Grama Simhan Namrityu Pasahi Pratimukta Shavira Bhagavan Vacha Satyam Vayambo Vanagocharam Yusma Vidan Mikaye Grama Simhan Namrityu Pashe Pratimukta Shavira Vikatanam Tava Grinantya Bhadra Shri Bhagavan Vacha Supreme Personality of Godhead said Satyam Indeed Vayam We Vanagocharaha Dwelling in the forest Mrigaha Creatures Yusmat Vidam like you Mrigaye I am searching to kill Grama Simhan dogs not Mrityu Pasahi by the bonds of death Pratimuktasya of one who is bound Viraha the heroes Vikatanam loose talk Tava your Grinanti take notice of Abhadra O mischievous one Personality of Godhead said Personality of Godhead said, "Indeed, we are creatures of the jungle, and we are searching after hunting dogs like you. One who is freed from the entanglement of death has no fear from the loose talk in which you are indulging, for you are bound up by the laws of death." Please repeat. Personality of Godhead said.
Personality of Godhead said,
"Indeed, we are creatures of the jungle.
Indeed, we are creatures of the jungle,
And we are searching after hunting dogs like you.
and we are searching after hunting dogs like you.
One who is freed from the entanglement of death
One who is free from the entanglement of death,
has no fear from the loose talk in which you are indulging,
no fear of the loose talk in which you are indulging.
for you are bound up by the laws of death.
For you are bound up by the laws of death.
Demons and atheistic persons can go on insulting the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They forget that they are subjected to the laws of birth and death. They think that simply by decrying the existence of the Supreme Lord or defying his stringent laws of nature, one can be freed from the clutches of birth and death. In Bhagavad Gita it is said that simply by understanding the transcendental nature of God, one can go back home, back to Godhead. But demons and atheistic persons do not try to understand the nature of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, they remain in the entanglement of birth and death. Mamagyam Tirantasya Gananjana Shalaka Chakshurstun Nidatamjena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest of evenings, and my spiritual master forced my eyes open with the torchlight of transcendental knowledge. Therefore, I have no respect for the Vaishnavas. I'm back after a big weekend. Pretty satisfied, tired. So now we're going to try and tune into the pastimes of Hiranyaksha and, of course, his protagonist, Varahadev. It's Lord Varaha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead in this form, who is speaking these words. And he's in the form of a boar, and in the jungle, when somebody comes in to hunt, they have dogs, and they'll search out the boars. So the boar is ready to challenge, ready to take on the challenge of the hunting dogs. In this case, it's the Supreme Personality of Godhead acting as a boar. And his challenge, after seeing the enormous form, proud, arrogant form of Hiranyaksha, is, we're ready for it. Hunting dogs are coming, we're ready to kill you. And what you're saying, all the loose talk you're indulging in to try and bolster your courage, is a waste of time, because you're going to die. You have to die. You're subject to the laws of birth and death. This is the nature of demons. They have a bodily identification, and even if they have some spiritual knowledge, they think that maybe they're God, maybe they're the supreme, and here in this case, Hiranyaksha, he wants to establish that he's the best fighter. But when you come up against Krishna, up against God, there's no chance. And Prabhupada in the purport, he describes how Krishna is reaching out, he's giving assistance to those people who want to understand him. Unfortunately, demons, they do not want to understand. They do not try to understand him. They do not even try to understand. They're just so convinced that they're the be-all and end-all. The way that Krishna presents in the Bhagavad Gita, it's quoted by Srila Prabhupada, not the actual verse, but he says in the Bhagavad Gita, and he's referring to Bhagavad Gita chapter 4, text number 9. Janma kama chame divyam evam yogiti kapta chakpati hankunadama nayati mamiti sojana. That the one who understands the nature of my appearance and activities in this material world, then he doesn't have to take birth again. So we have to try and understand this. Demons, they don't want to understand, they don't endeavour to understand. So devotees want to understand. The nature my appearance and activities, the nature of my appearance. Who am I? So Krishna, he manifests as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are three phases in realization of the Supreme Personality of Bhagavan. Those three phases are known as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So we need to try and understand. We need to try and understand what level we're at, what aspect, what are those phases of the Supreme Personality of God we can relate to. Brahman is the effulgence, the energy emanating from the Supreme Personality of God. The energy is everywhere. Krishna's energy is the source of it. Krishna's energy is maintaining, is nourishing. So that's all Krishna's energy. Do we relate to Krishna as his energy, as his creation? The next phase is the partial understanding, is the Paramatma feature, the super soul, the indwelling witness, who's giving instructions, who's sanctioning things. We take shelter of rules and regulations. Do we hear, okay, well, I'm supposed to be acting like this, Krishna is here, Krishna is going to be giving me this guidance. How do we relate to Krishna? Bhagavan, the Supreme Person, we relate to Krishna as that person, our dearmost friend. There's 5 main relationships, as in neutrality, as a servant, as a friend, as a parent, or as a lover. How do we relate to Krishna? We have to try and understand what level we're at. And that way we can see Krishna. We can see Krishna's everywhere. We're not seeing anything else but Krishna. But how are we recognizing it? What is our relationship with Krishna? There's different processes for realizing Krishna on different levels. The karmis, they perform fruitive activity. They just want to get some. They want to work within nature, and they're considered to be just materialists. And there's higher level karmis. There's people who are practicing niskama karma yoga, sakama and niskama. Again, different levels, doing activities that they like, and then giving the fruits, giving the results for a higher cause. Niskama karma, which is a process recommended by Narada Muni, then those persons, they find out what Krishna likes, and they try and perform that activity, and then offer the results to Krishna. They're not so attached to themselves, they're attached to performing activities for Krishna's benefit. Next process is the jnana yoga. Empiric understanding. Philosophical contemplation, philosophical speculation. There's nothing wrong with speculation, so long as it's philosophical speculation. Mental speculation is considered just, I think, I do this, I want this. I was told when I was early on in the temple, I spoke up, I think, and the speaker said, who cares what you think? Go and stand in the corner. So mental speculation, it's personal opinion. Philosophical speculation, how is it that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God? How is it that I'm here? Why am I suffering? What is my nature? That's okay, that's fine. And the Gyani, they practice speculation, philosophical speculation, and ultimately they're aiming at meditation. Neti, not this, not that. I don't want to be involved in this. I'm just going to meditate on my higher nature. This is okay. To bring you closer, such a person is considered to be a transcendentalist. They understand the nature of spiritual energy, the nature of the Supreme. But it's a risky path to take, to falsely renounce too early and to just go into the forest and practice meditation, to go into a solitary place and perform your bhajan, because until we've purified our heart, it's full of desires, and just the meditation won't satisfy the desires, it won't purify those desires. The sannyasis, the Mayavadis, they're speculating about the nature and action truth, and they want to try and draw away. They want to not have anything to do with the nature of the material world. But still, they're not purified, so ultimately they'll fall down to a lower status of opening hospitals or doing welfare work. So jnana is going to get you to be able to discriminate. I'm not this, I'm not that. Next level up is the yoga, Ashtanga yoga. The goal of the Ashtanga yogis is to discover the Paramatma within their heart, and then to meditate and offer service. Unfortunately, they get sidetracked, they get lost, and they misidentify themselves as the Paramatma, as the Lord within the heart. So the yoga process is also limited. The highest process then is the bhakti yoga process, devotional service. We hear that Krishna likes this, that Krishna is pleased in this way, Krishna is our well-wisher, so we try and endeavour to, like a friend, to try and to satisfy them by doing things that they like. The other processes, they have their place, but they will only work if they're overcoated with that bhakti, if they've got some notion, some blessings from the Supreme Personality or a devotee. So the bhakti yoga process, there are different stages even in bhakti yoga, different elements that we can choose within bhakti yoga. Rupa Goswami, he describes a series of verses, and then there's also from the Bhagavatam different aspects of bhakti yoga. Shravanam, Kirtanam, just had the Shravanam Kirtanam festival. The goal of that is supposed to be Vishnu Smaranam, to have our minds fixed with the always remembering. Padasevanam, worshipping and serving the lotus feet of the Lord or the devotees. Padasevanam. Archanam, forming worship. Dasyam, being just a servant, designed to be a servant. Dasyam. Vandana, offering prayers. The essence of the Shravanam Kirtana is the offering of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in a prayerful mood. Please engage me in service. Vandana, Dasyam. Sakyam. Sakyam is the friendship, the mood that Arjuna had with Krishna, that he perfected that. And Atmanivedana, to surrender everything. These are the different elements of bhakti yoga. Starting with hearing. Then there's the process of the stages that we can progress through, which have been spelled out by Rupa Goswami. Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya. In the beginning, we just come in touch, somehow or other we come in touch. We hear, and we recognise sadhus, and we recognise devotees, and we desire more of their association. This is where I would like to be, in this association. So Sadhu Sangha, then when that thickens, when that becomes more developed, then Bhajana Kriya. We want to perform activities of the same nature as the sadhus that we're associating with. We want to be in their association, and we realise in order to be in their association, then we have to help them, we have to share, we have to be involved with them. Sadhu Sangha Bhajana Kriya. In that process, then anatta nivritti. Things that are preventing us from being in that association, they pop up. Things that were unwanted, and we can recognise them, and we can ask, we can question. Well, I've got this thing that keeps nagging me. What can I do with it? How can I purify it? And the devotees, they've got very, very practical solutions. Well, I've been dealing with this for a long time. I just fully engage myself, and I study, and I hear, and I'm really absorbed. I absorb my mind, then those nasty things don't creep in. And after a while, through purification of hearing and chanting and association and serving, then the nasty things, they diminish. And after a while we look back and think, well, what I was desiring, yeah, Krishna can fulfill all desires, but I was desiring something very dirty, very nasty. Still, he's fulfilled that desire in a clean and a pure way. So I want to continue with this process. And after the Vritti, when the dirty things become more weird, then we can get to the stage of Nishta, steady practice of devotional service. And in Nishta, that's when we start to make more rapid progress. Before that time, it's Anishta, unsteady, flickering, more, and there's different stages in the Anishta. I'm going to chant 64 rounds today, and the next day, I'm just going to stay in bed. It's unsteady, up and down. So Nishta, when you start to become steady, then I believe it's Shakti, attachment, Ruchi, you get a taste. Past Nishta, then you can make rapid advance. Steady, very steady progress. Ruchi is a taste. You actually, it's not just by force, not just by rules and regulations that I'm rising early. You want to be awake during those hours. You want to hear and chant. You want to be associated. You want to get ready, purify yourself so you can engage in service. Then finally, that can approach the level of bhava, ecstatic love, where you're feeling a lot of reciprocation and you're experiencing the realm, just touching on the realm of spiritual life, spiritual association. And that matures further. Bhava, even there is still a few tinges of material. Something's going to bring us down. It's described just like if you've got a hen container and it's empty, and you wash it out, you scrub it out, you want to use it for something else. Still there's a little whiff, a little aroma, a little residue of that material hanging around. So bhava it's not safe. It's not completely safe. Bharata Maharaj, he had achieved that level, but a little affection for a deer, he had to take birth again. And then finally, prema, love of God. This is actually the goal, and it's tangible, it's very real. We recite every morning, and if you chant free from offences, then you develop Krishna prema. So it's there, it can be understood, it can be observed, those progressions, those stages of progression, they don't necessarily have to be in a linear fashion. They can appear in a spiral. We become very developed in sadhu sangha and performing activities and associating nicely with devotees and get initiated. But still there might be something else that's not so developed. So just by continuing, then they'll all fill out and we can all look forward to success. Whether it's in this life or another life, that depends upon our commitment, our sincerity, our seriousness, and also, as my Swami was saying, upon the mercy of the devotees. You might be chanting now, you might be doing some devotional service now. Let's see what happens 10 years down the track. Then we'll be able to really understand what's actually going on, where your heart is at. There are a lot of pitfalls along the way, and misunderstanding, little things can creep in, it can be disturbing, and if we take up bad association, if we're not sharp on the philosophy, if we're not clear in our goal, then there can be some obstacles. There are strong recommendations in the scripture that we should perform activities based on the scriptures. Shruti, Smriti, Puranadi. It says if you're not basing your activities on the Shruti and the Smriti, then they can be a speculation, they can be, ultimately they will be a disturbance. They will be a disturbance. We have to have a solid foundation. And when we get some inspirational, if we have got some opportunity to move forward in our own way without consulting, then we should always resort to the three checks and balances, Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. Then it's going to be safer, then it's going to be more authorized. Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. So Shastra is present in all of those, Guru and Sadhu. Then we got in the car and we picked up Amolga and immediately said, quite a slogan. He was just trying to train me, showing that that was what happened when he would get in the car with Prabhupada. Prabhupada would say, what does it say here? What does it say there? He would engage in mock debates, or he'd accept challenges, he'd want challenges. What does the scripture say? And when we're coming here, we're having Srimad Bhagavatam class, so that the scripture is the focus. Bhagavad Gita class, if we want to associate in a secure way, in a guaranteed way, then we should make sure that the basis is devotional service. And the easy way to have that check is to have the Shastra. Of course, the Guru and Sadhus, they're always representing. We sing in the morning the Guru of Astika prayers. Shakshada Hidre Nasta Shastra Nasta Bhagavate Sadhu. That because the spiritual master, he is as good as God. It's described in all the scriptures. You have to understand how and why. This is try to understand. We want to try to understand. Whereas the leaders, they don't even want to try and understand. They're just convinced they're satisfied. You should ask that question too. We want to understand what's the process, the ultimate process of achieving these topmost levels. And there are different deviations on the process which are present in other organisations. Here, the emphasis is very clear. Chant Hare Krishna. Nam Sankirtan. And other tantalising results may be presented from other personalities. You can come and just live at Radha Kund, and you can develop this type of sadhana and start to experience these things. But what is it based on? Who's authorising it? And what's their effect on the world? What's the evidence that they're actually doing something that is actually beneficial? There's a series of verses which how is it that Nam Sankirtan is the process for this day and age? Because other people would say jhana, yoga, associated with certain elevated people, take shelter in other areas. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and Srila Prabhupada, so they emphasise the Nam, the holy name. And when you see the life of Lord Chaitanya, he met his spiritual master. He was a very intelligent teacher of logic. And he met his spiritual master, and he became a devotee. He developed, he showed the move of the best devotee. So the first instruction, or after receiving the instruction and practicing, his spiritual master told him to chant Hare Krishna. He said, okay, you can't sit and study. Well, you shouldn't sit and study Vedanta Sutra. You're a fool. So he started chanting Hare Krishna, and after a while, or very quickly, he experienced very elevated results of chanting Hare Krishna. So he went back to his spiritual master and said, what's happening? What's this? So his spiritual master replied, this is a conversation that Lord Chaitanya, this is from the 7th chapter of the Adi Lila. Lord Chaitanya replied to Prakshananda Saraswati, "My dear sir, kindly hear the reason. My spiritual master considered me a fool, and therefore he chastised me. You are a fool," he said. "You are not qualified to study Vedanta philosophy, and therefore you must always chant the holy name of Krishna. This is the essence of all mantras or Vedic hymns." And quoting from scripture, Ishwara Puri described, "Simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna, one can obtain freedom from material existence. Indeed, simply by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, one will be able to see the lotus feet of the Lord." Everything is there in the holy name. You become free from material entanglements and you'll be able to see the lotus feet of the Lord. Then to further support and to emphasize that, Ishwara Puri, Lord Chaitanya Spiritual Master, he quoted, "Harinama, Harinama, Harinama eva kevalam, kalo naste, 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 katyanataha." For spiritual progress in the age of Kali, there is no alternative. There is no alternative. There is no alternative to the holy name, the holy name, the holy name of the Lord. In due course of time, that will become more tangible. People who are chanting Hare Krishna, engaged in kirtan and in the association of ecstatic, enthusiastic devotees, you can experience like a great spiritual upliftment. And finally, the result. Lord Chaitanya experienced all that, and he asked, "My dear Lord, what kind of mantra have you given me? I've become mad simply by chanting this Maha Mantra. Chanting the holy name in ecstasy caused me to dance, laugh, and cry. When my spiritual master heard all this, he smiled and then began to speak." And he quoted from the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. "It is the nature of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra that anyone who chants it immediately develops his loving ecstasy for Krishna." You just get in touch with Krishna somehow or other, by hearing, by chanting, by singing, by dancing. Then you're liberated. Your conception of life is changed. And by continuing to chant and to hear, or to associate with devotees, then the benefit of chanting becomes manifest in your life. And the benefit is that you'll be able to see the lotus feet of the Lord, and you'll be able to come in contact with Krishna and develop that mood of love for Krishna, just calling out on the holy name. It's not something that has to be developed by another process. The other process is that there's risks involved. The process of hearing and chanting. Of course, in order to understand how far developed we are, I stated that from the beginning, we should understand whether we're first class, second class, third class devotees, whether we're beyond that, whether we're a weaker devotee. And we have to, in those different stages, we have to be able to, like the second class devotee, they have to learn to discriminate. Who is a devotee, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is innocent, and who's a demon, who's an ignorant antagonist. There's all these different guides and assistances there which can be available if we just want to understand, try to understand. And all these things add up to understanding the nature of the appearance and activities of the Supreme Personality of God. He comes to the material world, he speaks the Bhagavad Gita for the conditioned souls. He wants us to develop our love for him so we can go back to him. He's feeling bereft. He's full in himself, but if everybody was to become aware of and to be engaged in service, he would be more satisfied. That's why he wants to take everybody back to the spiritual world. He came as Lord Chaitanya, he devised various means to present that process. So we're fortunate we've had a big dose. It was a big yajna, big sacrifice, and many people they come back from the Holy Dham. They participate in such a festival, and they experience a shift. They experience, okay, that was, even it's a shift to just move rather than one way or the other, to get off and get on with our spiritual life, or to admit that we're not up to scratch and we should just take time off, we should go and do something and then come back and then fully commit ourselves. We've got some desires which need to be fulfilled. the personal desires, the need for sense gratification, the need for something separate from Krishna. If we place our faith in Krishna, akama savakama va mokshakama udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena ye jeta purusham param. Whether one is full of material desires, whether one has no material desires, or whether one desires to become free from this material, one should by all means approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's easily done. We just have the tongue. We can use the tongue for two things. We can vibrate and we can taste. So we choose to only taste Krishna Prasadam, and we choose to vibrate topics about Krishna. His holy name. We can't think of anything to say about Krishna. We can just glorify His name. Call out with His name. Pray with His name. Associate with devotees who have a taste for His holy name. And that way we'll be able to please Him, become satisfied ourselves, and ultimately reach the topmost goal. So does anybody have any questions or comments? Chitana. There's a microphone just here.
Thank you, Prabhu, for the class. Very systematic presentation of Krishna conscious philosophy. Because I'm doing Bhakti Sastri, so and I'm also discussing it with some senior devotees, I found some interesting discoveries. First is in Bhagavad Gita, it's chapter 6, and it talks about the yogi, and then there's that section 641, Suchiman Shrimatan Gehe Yoga Brasta Vijayate. It says that one who is a yogi who is unsuccessful in his spiritual practice will take birth in a aristocratic family or a Brahmin family. And so usually within our society we think that, oh, this is the devotee, but actually, no, it's the yogi, and so I was thinking, what is the situation for the bhakta, for the devotee? And in the third text of Nectar of Instruction, Prabhupada states in the purport, I'll get it verbatim. Okay, hold on a sec. He says, although a fallen devotee may take his next birth in a low family, his devotional service will nonetheless resume from where it left off. Yeah, I mean, it's not like guaranteed, of course, that the fallen devotee is the one who takes birth again and then takes up devotional service. But yeah, a very profound statement by Srila Prabhupada that I found there. And
what's your take on it?
Yeah, because there is also one public address that Prabhupada gave, or maybe it was a letter in 1970 to Hayagriva, and then he was saying that, I'm so fortunate that, my spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada, has sent to me, these nice boys and girls to kindly help me to spread this Krishna consciousness movement. And then he was being really humble. And he was saying like, no, I am not qualified, and it's only by his mercy that he has kindly sent to me, you nice boys and girls, to help me. And when you kind of just bring all these different evidences that come together, it kind of seems to suggest that those who been devotees in their last life have done some level of bhakti and they've not been successful, then they take birth not in a high-born family, actually. It's just a regular low-born family. It's Kali Yuga. And because of Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement, that by his mercy we're able to take that up again.
It's interesting that we're not looking for a position, we're not looking for any recompense. We recognize that we have come from various fortunate or unfortunate backgrounds, and somehow or other we've come in contact
we say the spiritual master, the devotees, they've created our piety, they've created the uplifting process. And whether we've done devotional service in a previous life, it's not necessarily. There are statements like that, and from different levels you can understand that in order for one to take off, then they've had to. And you can see somebody who does take off very quickly, very rapidly, and they get to a point, they reach a leveling point, and they say, well, you've just quickly gone back through what you were, devotional service you're doing in a previous life, but now you have to continue, you have to work, you have to keep going. So who knows where we've come from, who knows what our background is. The mercy is what we're made of. And if we can be grateful for that, then there's hope that we can stay fixed, stay strong in the association of devotees, and not deviate. And because there's also, you can deviate in such a way you can commit offences, and then you can have to take birth in a lower species. You can see hell for some time. Ultimately, yes, you can come back, but who knows how long? All of these prescriptions, you're liberated. You can, but the time element is not there. It could be millions of births. So yeah, if we just cling to the lotus feet of our spiritual master and to the devotees, then ultimately the best result will be there. Yeah, it's nice when people have been fortunate to study, then the interchange can be on the level of what they've heard. It's not just speculation. And sometimes there was a question from the last class that okay, if the goal of spiritual life is to become eternal, and then why do you need to engage in devotional service after that? You're already in the spiritual world, you're eternal. But no, the goal is to get a clear understanding, to get not a distorted understanding, and to not try and misrepresent what we've heard and read. Then that's important. So just the beginning of the discussion after that question came was, well, actually the goal is not just to realise your eternal nature, Satchidananda, not just to understand that I'm not this body, aham brahmasmi, but then higher than that is Nityera Krishnadas, I'm a servant of Krishna. This the first part, aham brahmasmi, I'm not this body, that's considered confidential knowledge. More confidential is I'm a servant of Krishna, and most confidential, which is the highest realization, is the nature of Krishna and how I'm going to relate with him, how I can serve him. So to just get a little understanding, but then to take off on that and think, okay, now I'm not the body, I'm spiritual. Well, what do you do with the spiritual? How do I act spiritual? Then you have to be constantly inquiring, constantly searching, constantly making sure that you're on the right track. So having scripture there is okay, having some training in searching into the scripture, but then you have to have the ability to make sure it's verified, and it has to be verifiable. You can make an inquiry, you preserve that, and you inquire, well, I've been reading like this and this and this, and what does it mean? What's your understanding? So it's good to delve into that area. It's more essential hearing from other devotees. There's reading, and then reading with somebody else. It's more beneficial, and then eventually teaching is 10 times more beneficial, because you have to know what you're talking about, and you have to be prepared to accept challenges and to clarify and to refine it, and it's purifying. So studying is just the first part. Teaching is the next part.
Thank you, Prabhu. Does anyone have Krishna Kirtan, Prabhu? You have something to say or any comment, questions? No? Okay. I also wanted to mention, I have more, but also this time we're running out. But when I was saying about the devotees comes from the low-born or from outside, low-born family, but it's not for those who take birth in devotee families. It's not the same situation. There is a statement in Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto. And
that's what you said, they take birth in a family of aristocrats or in transcendentalists.
Yeah, this is Yeah, I'm not sure about that quote. But there's one statement, Srimad Bhagavatam, just because this is like the area that I'm reading from, Bhagavatam at the moment. So, this is one statement. Since the human form of life is a sublime position for spiritual realization, all the demigods in heaven speak in this way. Quote, how wonderful it is for these human beings to have been born in the land of Bharatvarsha. They must have executed pious acts of austerity in the past, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself must have been pleased with them. Otherwise, how could they engage in devotional service in so many ways? We demigods can only aspire to achieve human birth in Bharatvarsha to execute devotional service, but these human beings are already engaged there. Unquote. So that's Bhagavatam, 5th Canto, Chapter 19, verse 21. So this statement seems to suggest that, some of the Gurukulis, or those who are born in devotee families, they're actually demigods, and that they have come to take birth to perform devotional service. I'm not saying all devotees who are born in devotee families.
But that can be a misuse of the word. There's suras and asuras. Asuras are demons and suras are devotees. So the big devotees, and some of them have got karma mishra, some of them are mixed, classified as demigods. They get a position there. Then the demigods are lining up to take birth on earth, because the human form, it's a better crossroad, it's a better platform for engaging in devotional service.
Yeah.
You're not enamoured by the facilities. So, they can be big devotees without necessarily being demigods.
I see.
It's a position. There's relative understanding, and even the yogis don't. They're the ones who get that. So yogi is a general term as well, and we're practicing bhakti yoga. So we're also practicing yoga, but we might not become so adept. It's actually to understand what is yoga, then the yoga ladder is offered as one of the elements of understanding. And that gives you the different rungs on the ladder, so you can understand the progression from hatha yoga, then there's higher yoga, there's jnana yoga, then Raja Yoga, then Bhakti Yoga, Kriya Yoga. There's all the different yogas, but the ladder, they're structures, they're formats. Like there's another part from the Nectar Devotion describes the 64 qualities of Krishna. That's a format for study. Krishna's got unlimited qualities. So the statements are there just to help to guide us to understand. And if we can just meditate on one aspect, one syllable, and get realization. If you just understand the transcendental nature of the appearance and the activities, just understand what it means to be all-powerful, all-cognizant. Just one little understanding, that's enough to go back to Godhead. And all of it helps to expand your vocabulary. It helps to expand your understanding of how the philosophy fits together by engaging in systematic study. But still, it's dependent upon the mercy. It's dependent upon the purification of the heart. It's dependent upon the realization. And that's not something that comes cheaply. We've got to beg for that and continue to work and show. It's not that we should try and see Krishna. We should act in such a way that Krishna wants to see us. So,
thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Discussion.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srimad Prabhupada ki jai.